My office feels so empty. The energy of today's show so drab. It's cold outside, but it feels even colder now because I know what it's like to do only weird games at the same table as Seth Keysor and Nate Taylor. And now we're back here live from our digital prisons. Seth, are you going to make the trip again on Thursday like you promised? I don't think I can do back-to-back digital shows again. I think at most one-on-one off is as good as I can do.
I will definitely give it the consideration it deserves.
I hope everyone gives the show the consideration it deserves. Bye!
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
Yeah, we're back digital again. At least I can still see your smiling faces here on Only Weird Games on KC Sports Network. Joshua Brisco, Seth Keysor, Nate Taylor, back in our own little thirds of the screen. The energy is worse, but I think that we're going to make it through it. And frankly, anyone who went ahead and survived through the open break there, at least you're continuing to consider this show. It is a little bit of a downer, fellas, that we're back on remote here. But I did have a tremendous time going back and looking at a lot of the comments and texts and stuff that we got, or the tweets across socials of everyone who enjoyed what we did on Saturday. Thank you for bringing that to our attention as you enjoyed that. We certainly had a good time. Seth apparently made it back to Minnesota. Is it like 7 degrees there?
You know what? That's actually really funny that you would say that. Oh no, actually, I forgot that it warmed up today. It's 21. We're good.
Oh, fine. That's a hoodie and t-shirt at most. It's nearly 40 down here, Nate. You doing okay? Even though you can't share a room with us right now.
I'm doing fine. I'm in my vest, trying to stay stylish in these new climates. I also cut my hair since
I think you did
live show. So yeah, man, a lot of things have changed. I can feel the wind now. That's cool.
And the perfect time of year to start really feeling the full force of the wind on your scalp.
Yeah. So look, was I aware that the lone criticism I saw was that and thank you, Tucker, for defending me. I assume it's you. Is that sometimes I forget there's a microphone, and that being particularly astute in volume could cause distortion to one's ear. And sir, that's just what passion sounds like.
That's right. It was a passionate affair for all of us, and Tucker over on the mixer looked like Bach. He looked like Beethoven.
He really did.
Tickling the ivory,
he really did.
Pulling the sliders, and we'll, we can all tip our hat to Tucker as ever. Before we get into the things that we still like to talk about, a little bit of a closer look at a few pieces of this Chiefs team. Obviously, we did our post-game breakdown in earnest on Saturday. There's one other thing that is not yet over, and it's time to step up and sign up, if you haven't yet, to the Soul of KC Holiday Raffle and Toy Drive. It all benefits Operation Breakthrough. I'll read you what you have available here in just a second. I'll tell you how you can get signed up, but we are nearly to that $10,000 mark, and want to cross that very soon, and then want to get closer up to what you all were able to put out there last year. It was absolutely huge. I got to be there for the shopping spree that, again, all benefits Operation Breakthrough. Excited to do that again this year, and we'll announce and draw the winners on next Tuesday's Only Weird Game. So we're in the final week here. If you've been putting it off, this is the time to do it. In fact, I'll flip it and I'll tell you what you can win, and then I'll tell you how to do it, and hope that maybe that'll get you moving, because it is an incredible list of prizes. It's an awesome cause, and it's something that KCSN really prides itself on being able to do every holiday season that they've been doing now. This is the 4th annual edition. So here's what you can get by supporting the Soul of KCSN Holiday Raffle, which benefits Operation Breakthrough. Here's what's up for the raffle. We got a Patrick Mahomes signed mini helmet, Chris Jones signed home red jersey, Justin Reed signed red jersey, Shamari Connor signed black jersey, Leo Chanel signed black jersey, Nick Bolton signed mini helmet, a holiday bourbon pack, tickets and parking in a VIP tailgate versus the Texans on December 21st. 2 tickets there. Bobby Witt Jr. art by Caitlin Snelling, tequila tasting in session, a taco tailgate pack, $100 gift card at the Capitol Grill, 50 at 3rd Street Social, 100 at Red Door Grill, 50 at BB's Barbecue, a Cookie Society gift card, Good Old Days swag pack with a t-shirt and hoodie, a bunch of those gift cards and whatnot. Some of those have multiple winners that will be given out. So here's what you can do to benefit Operation Breakthrough and to get signed up for the holiday raffle. You can send $20 for 1 ticket, $50 for 5 tickets, or $100 for 15 tickets. The deadline on this is Monday. Monday, December 9th is your last time you can get tickets, and you can either send that money on Venmo at KC Sports Network, or you can purchase tickets online at givebutter.com/KCSNSoul. That's givebutter, like what you put on toast.com/KCSNSOUL. We'll draw winners on the 10th. So something to look forward to there if you haven't yet gotten to be a part of it. But something I'm looking forward to today, fellas, is chatting with you both about this Chiefs defense and some of the things that we've seen both from the up front and from back near the rear of the defense. Nate, I don't know. Actually, this is a fun. Do you not like the phrase rear of the defense? I've been talking.
I love a good rear end.
Seth's muted, so that's how much fun he's having. If Seth's mic either isn't working or he's muted because he didn't like it when I talked about the rear end of the defense.
Yeah. Now I do want to add. I'm just getting some information, Seth. I don't know if you can hear this.
Right, yeah. Okay.
I can hear you.
Now I can't say.
Oh, can we read that one?
Everything that's on the updated list. All going to a great cause. Seth Keysor unused stun gun.
Okay.
Oh, stun gun's the one that you read,
and that's all that's on there.
Yeah, and Nate Taylor hotel bed sheets also could be included with your donation. So there are other options that have been approached, and I can't say that those have been accepted. Yes, this lovely event will not include zippers.
Or we'll be buying clothes with zippers that will go to children who need it. So if the zippers are all for a good cause too, exactly where they're supposed to be.
In that case, yes.
That's at the Operation Breakthrough, the shopping spree.
Yes, that's right. Correct. Yes.
I've offered the game used insulin pen. I've got some Humalog vials if you'd like. Some might even have a couple units in the bottom if you're scrapping.
I probably got an extra kid laying around somewhere. I mean, they're everywhere. Come home and I'm like, what in the,
Speaking of a man amongst boys, guys, I haven't even gotten to read Nate's piece on Chris Jones and his role in the Chiefs defense. You guys both have pieces that are on the way out that you both wanted to talk about on today's show that are not out yet. So I'm going to kick my feet back and just have a nice, relaxing little listening party while you guys talk about 2 big parts of this defense. But Nate, what brought you back to Chris Jones here in early December, and what have you learned?
Well, Josh, this is one of the moments in the season where we can really take a nice look at like legitimate, sizable data, and that's fun. Now I will re-ask the audience the same question I asked you guys yesterday, of which I got a smattering of help. Thanks.
Unhelpful responses. Late unhelpful responses from all three of us.
Guys, sometimes when I'm working on a story or I'm reporting it, and now I've actually gotten down to the part where I need to like put thought to these hands, to these fingers, so that they can type something hopefully poignant and informational and insightful to some degree. Just might want to hit your boy back. Yesterday was
poignant and insightful.
True. Now yesterday was a bit of an anomaly. God, I can't speak. So look, I have been thinking about writing about Chris Jones for about a month now, and there were some things that occurred that give us more time for me to study what's really going on. Obviously, we get another data point Friday with Charles Omenihu back on the field. Obviously, Josh Oche still on the sideline. Look, maybe Mike Dana's getting healthier. Who knows? KL368 asks Nate, do you have a typing hat? Just like a special hat that gets the juices flowing. Unfortunately, KL, I don't have a typing hat. I do have writing gum. This is what breaks every writing block known to man in my industry.
Nate has for the listeners that appears to be some spearmint orbit gum.
Yeah.
Thank you, Seth.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you wanna reach out to us, we can reach out to you.
Big
saying.
fan of a lot of different minty gum over here. So I think this is a partnership that make a lot of sense.
The latest athletic feature on Chris Jones brought to you by Orbit. So
unofficially, if the
unofficially,
FCC
obviously, Josh. So
we can't assume.
I want to remind you guys something that is an extension of what I said on Saturday's live show.
I love you too.
Thank you. You're the apple of my eye.
I'm sorry.
As I said,
I'm gonna let you get back to this, Nate. But I need to warn listeners. I've been up since 3:30. I was driving Jazz to the airport. No, she's not leaving me for Hugh Jackman.
That's what.
And so my filter is
not yet.
Such as it is not great. So I apologize, Nate. I don't know why I did that.
No, it's okay. It's all right.
So please,
it's okay.
You were gonna build on something you said Saturday. It's just.
Does Nate hate Chris Jones like Seth hates Charles? No, that is not what this story is, guys. Shout out to Seamus Levin for that. As I said on Saturday, the defense is not supposed to be as good as it was in 2023. That's just the reality. It was never going to be this good. It wasn't supposed to be this good. The front office, led by General Manager Brett Veach, and in accordance with Andy Reid, with a little bit of, over the cap presuming of Clark Hunt, we got to fix this offense. We got to give more resources, more younger resources, more dynamic resources to Patrick Mahomes in the offense. Everyone on this show, by and large, agreed with that. So on one stroke of a pen, this is not word for word, but I just want to paint the picture here, guys. In one stroke of a pen, from Chris Jones's hands to the ink on the paper, Chris Jones in March got everything he worked for.
Except for better agents.
The highest paid defensive tackle, fully replacing Aaron Donald with his status in the league. And he got to remain a Chief for, we presume, at least the next 3 to 4 years, with maybe one more chance to sign another contract with the team to, one assumes, have his Hall of Fame career be somewhat synonymous in the same category as Travis Kelce, right? The moment he stopped signing that contract, the entire burden of the defense was placed upon his shoulders. We got to let L'Jarius Sneed go. Willie Gay ain't coming back. Our first 3 draft picks, none of them are going to be on defense. We're not going to sign a single player of significance in the offseason. We're hopefully going to re-sign as many guys as we can. Even Mike Edwards can't come back. I'm sorry. The burden that has been placed on Chris Jones is very fascinating, because I think when you look at the traditional statistical data, his season is still above average, but it is not a Chris Jones season, because the Chiefs are asking the world out of Chris Jones. And if he can deliver in year 9 at age 30, that'll be really, really impressive. What they've asked of him this season is unlike any other defensive lineman in the NFL. No one has to work harder with more responsibility than Chris Jones in the National Football League rushing the passer. And now we have a large enough data to really explain that out. We have obviously some anecdotes, we have some highlights, we have some statistical stuff that we can get into. But I just want people to know that no one has it harder than Chris Jones, because when you get the deal you want, there's a level of sacrifice that is immediately required, but also there is a level of you gotta hold us up and elevate everybody around you in a way that I don't think many other guys are asked to do. Not even Nick Bosa, not even Myles Garrett.
And if that's the ask, I would have to say that would frustrate me, because no single defensive lineman in the history of the NFL has done that.
Correct.
Including Aaron Donald. People can talk about Aaron Donald all they want. If you look at
the last two guys I'll give you, and this is how high Chris is having to try to reach. The last two guys I can think of, Seth, to your point, is a guy named Lawrence Taylor and a guy named Reggie White.
Sure. Absolutely. All-timers, of course. Yep. Like that's like no one's out here like, I love that those two are so great. I mean, those two and Derek Thomas, right? 3 greatest pass rushers to ever live. And whatever order you want to put them in, anyone who wants to fight you on it, whatever. I would just say this. There's never been a single defensive player that can carry a defense the way a quarterback can carry an offense. It just doesn't exist, because the greatest defensive players win on pass rush snaps approximately 25 to 35% of the time. And if you're pushing 35% over a period of time, that is insane. One thing that makes Chris Jones so special is it's always 25% or above. Always. Every season, year after year after year after year. And the problem is that leaves, let's say 30%. You are all pro, first team, 30% week in and week out. That means 70% of the time you are not winning. And what's happening when you're not winning? And we see those snaps too often. Now against the Raiders, you had a few other plays. George Karlaftis got home. And you see what happens with a lack of pressure on those plays. I would postulate that the team, and who knows what their conversations were. Maybe they overestimated George's step forward last year a little bit with raw sack numbers because of how good the secondary was.
Correct.
Because it's a big difference when your secondary is just locking guys down. That in terms of, you can have guys that get pressure in 3.5 seconds. Guys who are slow burners, crushing the pocket. If your secondary isn't locked down, suddenly it's Chris or nobody. And the way complementary pass rush works, you can't just have it be one guy, because suddenly you're going to slide every protection his way. And so for listeners, watchers who are asking Nate about various names in the NFL, the reason he's having to work so hard is every protection slides his way. Well, yes. Seth, that's been true for years. Yes, the majority of the time protections have slid his way, but they could move him around and get matchups a little bit when Amenahu was playing. When guys, even earlier this year, when Wharton was kind of playing above his head a little bit, that affected things. And you need that complementary pass rusher. And so when they're sliding guys to Jones every single snap, that means he's running through 2 guys just to get pressure on any given snap, no matter where he's lined up. I would say there's a reason why. And Amenahu, it was his first game back. He played well. Didn't play as well as he did down the stretch last year, in my opinion, in his one-on-ones, now that I've had a chance to review the film. But it was still solid, still better than a lot of what they've seen. And the threat of him makes a difference.
He also
and
played
helps.
half of the snaps, which you would have all taken the under on.
Yes.
Yeah, good for him. He just got right out there. That was awesome. So my hope is, and Nate, he's being asked to carry an incredibly heavy burden. I would postulate that with the way the defense has played this year, with the way the other pass rushers have played, with the way Tranquil hasn't played as well as he did last year, with certain things, Nick Bolton playing hurt a few times and some of the stuff he's you could argue the only defensive player, Trent McDuffie's been elite this year. He was elite last year. Who has taken a step forward on defense this year besides Leo Chenal?
Okay, that was gonna be my name.
That's okay. I want to poke two holes in that, Seth, while we're here. One very, very minor one for Trent McDuffie, but he had his worst game as a pro this season, and maybe his second. Him getting dunked on by Brock Bowers is not something I'm willing to worry about. But like the Cortland Sutton game was like, that was weird. Do you guys know the last time Leo Chenal played more than 45% of the Chiefs' defensive snaps?
Oh, it's been a minute.
Saints?
Teams are
Niners.
Yep.
Ooh.
Teams are lining up against them a little bit differently because they've recognized it's no coincidence that's when the Chiefs' run defense has struggled a little more. It used to be that you tried to get the Chiefs' defense to base because their nickel was their strongest by far, and dime even stronger. Now with their base, teams have realized, wait, with Big Mike and Derek Nottie spelling each other, and with Leo Chenal winning consistently on the edge, you actually don't really want the Chiefs in base to run against. It used to be you could. Now you really can't. And so that's a really good point. Well, all I was going to say in terms of here's what I would postulate. If Chris Jones was swapped out for a good
average
defensive
tackle. Just say average.
Oh, if he was swapped out for average, this is a bottom 8 defense.
Yeah.
And that's again, the Watson injury was really unfortunate. Teams aren't necessarily built for significant cornerback injuries. And like you said, Nate, they punched out of their weight class last year. I don't think everything was supposed to come together as well as it did last year. And it all fit together so perfectly and so spagsy. And even Leo last year coming along to kind of what he's been this year, it's like, ooh. Oh, in the playoffs, you're just going to get run all over. And Spags was sitting there after the midway point thinking, no, we're not.
No.
Buffalo did a little. But that is what they are asking him to do is just a completely wild thing. And honestly, I think L'Jarius Sneed, they were going to get out of the way either way because I think they knew the route that was going to go with his knee, which is unfortunate. I'm so glad he got paid before things went that way for him. But I mean, now the Chiefs have what? It's a really early 3rd round pick.
I believe it's 69 right now.
That's via Kent Swanson, ladies and gentlemen.
Pervert.
Can I tell you the stat that I think I hope will blow people's minds?
I wish you would. I'm gonna try to keep my head on this time and not fall out of the chair because it's still pretty early in the show. But yeah.
Okay, because I'm gonna double check this. They updated today. This is via Next Gen Stats, but in terms of pass rush win rate, yes, it was. Well, I don't think it's been updated yet. I don't know, Jim. Okay, it has been updated. Woo! Okay, pass rush win rate from the interior. Ooh, wow, we getting. Ooh. Okay, I might have to change that. Chris Jones has now been supplanted, kids. It is now Zach Allen from the Denver Broncos who is winning. And
this is True Media's, right?
This is through
or
Next Gen
ESPN's.
Stats, through ESPN Next Gen Stats player tracking data.
And so it's gauging how close someone got to the quarterback.
Yes,
which it really helps when you've got a demon screaming in off the edge, forcing him to get closer to you, like Benito. Oh man, that guy can play.
About the Broncos pass rush? Was there anybody else there who's had good years?
Yeah, it was so weird. Chris Jones' sack, his sack of what's his name? What's the dude's name? O'Connell.
Aidan O'Connell.
Yes. Aidan O'Connell. The reason he had nowhere to go when Jones won to the outside shoulder was because Menahu crushed the pocket. Had he not been stonewalled there, all he has to do is step up, and Jones goes aside, and maybe it doesn't even go down as a win. And that's why complementary pass rush matters so well. You've got to take away the actual pocket.
Now here's another key, ladies and gentlemen. Here's another difference between, say, Zach Allen's world and Chris Jones's world. Well, Chris Jones goes inside to outside. That's fine. That happens. He's versatile and a dual threat to do that, right? That is not what Zach Allen is asked to do. Well, Nate, I mean, come on. I mean, if Zach Allen's just rushing from the interior, how many times does he get double teamed? Well, via Next Gen Stats, Zach Allen from the Denver Broncos has been double teamed 50% of the time, which pretty good number.
Yeah. Good player. Someone wrote that the Chiefs should sign him when he was a free agent a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So I know somebody said Jalen Carter has done a lot this season, and he's shown a lot of improvement.
He's also 10 years younger.
Right. Chris Jones is getting double teamed at a 68% rate.
That's so many.
From the interior. 68%. 68%. Daquan Jones from Buffalo, who has played, I mean, less than half the snaps of Chris Jones, you could say this to a certain degree. He gets double teamed 70% of the time. He is a different player. He's not asked to rush the passer in the same way Chris Jones is asked to, i.e., you sign the contract, there's the burden. So if Chris Jones is second right now, and this is based on last night being updated based on the Broncos win over the Browns. If Chris Jones is number 2 in pass rush win rate at the defensive tackle position, he has earned every single one of them reps. You want to know why, kids? You want to know why? He cannot get off the field. He cannot leave the field. This in accordance to generating pressure in 2.5 seconds or faster at the second highest rate in the league, while also being double teamed at the highest rate in the league, while also, ladies and gentlemen, he has played 623 snaps this season.
That's too many.
That is 83%. 83% of the Chiefs' total defensive snaps. The only defensive lineman in the league who has more snaps on the field this season in pass rushing opportunities, according to Pro Football Focus, is Madden BK from the Baltimore Ravens. He has 451 pass rushing snaps to where Chris Jones has 436. But again, Chris Jones has played 623 snaps in 12 games.
I'm going to go ahead and
83%.
Add another metric you can use here. Chris Jones in his age 30 season, that is his highest snap share of the Chiefs' defensive snaps for any season in his career.
Correct.
Now, look, he did play obviously in week 18 last year, not week 1, and so you may have a chance for those numbers to skew if they don't have to play in week 18 this year. But those snaps, he has played, just to pick one, he's played 23 fewer snaps than he did in all of 2019. I go, he only played 13 games that year. But 83% would be the highest of his career.
Yes.
And by the way,
this is the burden, and you got to bring it every game, every third down. Like, everything revolves around you. Every blitz is with you as part of the furniture, part of the manipulating the pass blocking scheme from the other team. Everything is on this man's shoulders. He still has 5 sacks. He thinks that a 10-sack season will be a success for him. He literally said that on Friday, matching essentially what he did last year with, again, not as strong of a supporting cast with more responsibility, and he cannot leave the field. There was a moment against the Carolina Panthers, and this is not in my story, but this was an anecdote I didn't use. But there's a moment early in the first half against the Carolina Panthers where they tried to give Chris Jones an entire series off against Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. All right, man. They're in the red zone. You got to get back in there. They went right down the field. They're in the red zone. Okay, you got to go back in there. You got to hold them to a field goal. And guess what, kids? They kicked a field goal. But the point is, they can't even give him one drive off in a game against the Carolina Panthers.
And that's part of why Amenahu's return becomes so important, because especially considering what he's coming back from. I mean, he looks spry, but he is always, his entire career, has been a solid 3-tech pass rusher, which is where Chris Jones does his best work. Jones is obviously, he's elite from everywhere, but from the 3-tech, that's where he does his best work. Amenahu is a very good 3-tech pass rusher. He's a dude from the 3-tech. And my hope would be you can maybe give him a little more rest with him there, with Dana rushing from the interior as well, where he does his best work, and with Uche, who is Joshua Uche. Yeah, he is a player for the Kansas City Chiefs that they felt the need to trade for, who had a good pass rush win rate in New England and now just never plays.
That's not true. That's not true, Seth. What was your favorite snap against the Raiders from Joshua Uche? Which one was your favorite?
Oh my gosh.
I know mine.
I know mine. It's hard.
You think there's a
Hold on, Nate. I need Seth to finish the sentence he just said. What were you saying, Seth? It's what? It's hard to what?
It's hard to tell. It's really hard to pick between two great choices.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. You pick between one choice.
You get one choice. Oh, it was only one. Okay.
You get one choice. Joshua Uche got one snap.
That's very frustrating.
He was on the field for one, then Chris Jones jumped offside. So I guess that could have been your favorite if you wanted to get it to 2. That's why I said that 2 in his head. One snap for Joshua Uche.
You think there's a again, I love Moneyball. You think there's a Moneyball scene going on in the Chiefs facility of look, yes. I think we should play what's his name at first base. And Spags, as the manager of the Oakland A's, says he can't play first base. See, the plan is to get Hatterberg to play first base. Okay, we need Uche to get to the passer. You know what he does? He gets to the passer. You think Spags is like, it's my lineup. It's my, you're paid to do this. I'm paid to do that.
You could actually now have a starting defensive line of unused Chiefs draft pick compensation and just have Joshua Uche and Cam Thomas start outside of Neil Farrell and Keandre Coburn. And I think you've got 3 6th-round picks and a 7th there. That might be better than what the Chiefs have right now.
And it feels like there's no way they didn't talk before trading assets for a guy. And so I understand, can Joshua Uche do the things that Spags generally likes? Not on early downs, but that's not what they need. And I understand, you got to think about your players and you want guys to be happy. What is it? Stop the run so you can have some fun. See, then you can get after the quarterback. But that, it's fun? Winning. And it's not like Uche is like, Von Miller reincarnated or something like that.
We have no way of knowing.
Reincarnated.
And so I have to hope. Well, but they traded for Cam Thomas and they just literally never did anything with him.
I think it's a Brown now. I think he and Kadarius Toney are in Cleveland at this point.
So I don't know. That whole thing's frustrating. But the Chiefs defense right now, they are overly reliant on Jones in more ways than one. And to me, the Amenahu coming back is one of those things that where it is, it's not, you're not getting back in a guy like, it's not like they traded for, Zach Allen or something like that. But he is a really good pass rusher. That should help. That alone, and it can be a rising tide that lifts all boats. He did it last year. The early returns against the Raiders were pretty promising, so that's good to see. But the Uche thing, it seems like an easier button to at least try, because Mike Dana has not been as effective rushing the passer this year, and you can move him inside. Give Chris a break. I understand Chris probably wants to be out there for every 3rd and long, and that's the problem, right? That's where you end up with this kind of the situations where you can move Dana and Amenahu inside are the situations you kind of want Chris on the field. So it's tough, and I get that, but you got to do it. That to me, Uche a little bit more on 3rd downs is an easy button to hit. Amenahu coming back, that's an automatic one. Another easy button to hit. They finally hit it against the Raiders.
Hey, that button is called Keith Taylor.
Called Red Zone Keith, as we always call him. We'll pull the lever and go to the next one in the rundown here. Seth, you're working on a piece about Joshua Williams, right?
Yes.
What he put on, on Saturday show, I guess. But Joshua, now Johnson gets the start. He gets pulled in the red zone for Keith Taylor, who gets 3 snaps down there, and then the rest of the game is Joshua Williams on the outside. And I am genuinely, having not seen the story exist yet, I am really excited to figure out how Joshua Williams performed in that trust that he got from Spags.
The delayed trust.
Yeah, it took a while.
It was
yours. Let's take a break.
Yeah.
Shop Chiefs tickets and more with no fees. Plus, save big with code KCSN at ticketsforless.com, the official ticket provider of KC Sports Network.
Yeah,
we're talking about how you don't want opposing offenses to be shaving through the Chiefs defense. But if that's one of your concerns, don't worry your pretty little head. I got great news for you. Scruffy, smooth shaved, I've got options for you. Really, Manscaped has options for you. I just am the vessel that Manscaped can use to bring you this great Christmas news. You can finally win the award that we've all been talking about for years. No, not a Defensive Player of the Year award for Chris Jones, the Best Groomed at the Family Dinner award. You can check out what Manscaped has done with the Chairman Pro electric foil shaver. You can get a smooth, irritation-free shave, and you can get it with a little bit of a deal thanks to us here at KCSN. Head over to manscaped.com and join the over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using code KCSports for 20% off and free shipping on your order. Here's the deal with the Chairman Pro. It's got not 1, but 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads, and the 4-blade foil, the skin-safe 4-blade foil is there for you when you want that baby's bottom smooth, and the skin-safe stubble trimmer for when you want to keep some stubble but clean it up a little bit. You got all these options. You can check them all out at manscaped.com and see what they have to offer. So you can get the Chairman Pro today and experience a shave that's as smooth as you deserve. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code KCSports at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code KCSports at manscaped.com. Sorry, Seth, it seemed like you were doing a bit, but I just had to tell. I had good news in my heart that I needed to share with our lovely and our frankly undergroomed audience. I clearly, by the fact that Manscaped keeps coming back to us, I think maybe it's time to shape it up a little bit for the holidays.
Absolutely. It's never a bad time to take care of yourself. Let's New Year's resolutions are coming fairly soon. Maybe yours is this year. I'm going to be groomed well. I'm going to be immaculate in all areas of my body. Will be clean shaven. I mean, I don't know. You resolve whatever you want, I guess. I mean, you could work out more too. But shave everywhere.
I got a leg tattoo that I had to shave for, and that let me. I'm going to ask you a question, and then you're going to go back talking about Joshua Williams without answering this question. When you know you're about to get a tattoo on your lower left leg, you've got to shave that for the tattooing. Where do you stop? And I'm going to let everybody meditate on that while Seth talks about Joshua Williams.
Never.
I'll tell you what, there's not a good spot. It's not just left lower leg. That's no good. Just both lower legs. Why are my knees so hairy? Okay, well, bring it up.
Yeah.
Just saying, eventually you got to handle your business.
Yeah. And now you're just moving up. And next thing you know, you've got a shaved head. People are asking questions. And you're like, you wouldn't believe where this started.
Right now, I could go get an Olympic record in a pool right now. I am smooth like a dolphin.
Well, good for you. And it wouldn't be possible without our friends at Manscaped.
That's true.
So here's the thing. Josh Williams, it was an interesting introduction to write, because I'm trying to capture, when I talk about Josh Williams getting significant playing time against the Bills, you're the Bills against the Raiders. You almost have to start by thinking about how this season started for him. And that's the interesting thing. He was one of the guys whose name was in the mix for cornerback 2. Najee Johnson always seemed to have the inner track. Then Watson came back, played a horrifyingly bad preseason game, and then came back and was terrific. Here's the interesting thing that you see. So here's Josh Williams' snaps. He saw 40% of the snaps week 1 against the Ravens. Week 2, 6 snaps. I don't know why I'm like moving off camera as I do this. Week 2, 6 snaps, 0 snaps for the next 3 weeks. 12 snaps against the Niners, but that's just because Watson got injured mid-game. Then he plays significant snaps against the Raiders and Bucks after Najee Johnson gets hurt.
Yes.
Before that, was not going to see the field.
Yeah, that was concussion related. Yes.
Yep. And then promptly lost those snaps the minute Johnson was available. In the meantime, Johnson was given the opportunity, and I'm actually just reading now what I'm going to be writing here. Ooh, it's a preview. To leapfrog Williams on Kansas City's defense. He was essentially given the cornerback 3 snaps over Williams prior to Watson's injury, right? Where they had Johnson, McDuffie, Watson on the field. That used to be, at times, Williams' role as a cornerback 3 or cornerback 4, depending on the scenario. And then he was thrust into the role of cornerback 2 over the last month after missing a little bit of time. But they've tried other things too. That wasn't the only thing they tried to replace Josh Williams snaps. They marched out a rookie, Chris Roland Wallace, into the slot to try to take up some of those snaps, to not have Josh Williams on the field. They tried playing Shamari Connor in the slot way more than I think was a good idea. And it wasn't. Yeah. To avoid the same thing. And now everything's come full circle. And finally, Johnson, who's had some tough outings. He showed some promise with certain things, but he's had some tough outings, particularly in man coverage, and he just got pulled. One thing I've noticed, Reed and Spags are not, they're giving some leeway, but they're not playing around this year. They're like, they gave Johnson every opportunity to solidify that job. And now Williams is back out there. The reason why that's funny to me is because Williams had a significant role, not a huge one, about 30% of the snaps on last year's defense, with a much better cornerback room.
Yep.
And so what I did, because he popped a few times against the Raiders. He had one really nice rep. That's actually, I think, what I lead with, where he knocked down the ball. He had 2, what I would call passes defensed. I've looked at every snap now in all 22. The only snap where I thought Williams was out of position, I don't think it was him upon reviewing. I think Shamari Connor was kind of wandering a little, shall we say. Here's the thing with Williams. You know what he did do when he got placed against Raiders, who don't have an all-world receiver group, but they were giving Johnson some problems. And Myers, another guy, by the way, I wrote about, and you can look at these. I wrote the Chiefs should sign him. Also wrote they should sign Greenard, who's now tearing it up in Minnesota. I know ball. Anyway, so these are guys who didn't sign elite level contracts. They are. And okay, but I can't. I was right.
Hello, Clark Hunt. I know ball.
Yeah.
Give me a job.
They like, honestly, some of these contracts aren't huge. They're big contracts these guys signed because they're good players, but not huge.
And Juwan Taylor contract.
So you know what Williams did? He came in and he, you know what? KL368 does a good comment here. I can't say everything he says. Man, Josh immediately got out there and started barking. My guy talked bleep to every and anyone. And yes, he did, because he's like 6'2", 6'3", 205, 210. He's huge. He's physical. And you know what you can do with Josh Williams? You can say, hey, get out there, play man coverage, and make that dude's life miserable getting off the line.
Josh Williams.
Who did I say?
You just said Josh, and I'm not.
Josh Williams.
Right? Yeah,
yes.
that makes sense.
Josh Brisco in your life will never make you more miserable. Josh Williams will if you're an opposing receiver. And he played a really solid game against the Raiders. One of his passes defensed, he saw that the route that he was following in zone was breaking to the middle of the field, and he stopped following him and knocked down the ball when the receiver came into his zone. I've never been prouder of Josh Williams than I was like, dude, that's what you do. You just pass him off. So he's not a perfect solution, but he's the best solution they have at cornerback too. Is he going to have some blown coverages? Yes. But he will also have really good man coverage snaps. He can follow go routes down the field. You know what's been killing them? Go routes down the field on the boundary. He covers those better than Johnson. He is the obvious solution. It's not going to be perfect. He's going to have some rough games because he's not Jalen Watson. He's certainly not 2023 L'Jarius Sneed. But Josh Williams, I'm giving away my entire article. He is the best solution they have.
I'll Venmo you $3 to make up for it.
Thank you. So are you telling me they kicked the tires on Najee Johnson in the middle season of a three-peat just to get teachable tape? just to tell Nazi what he should work on for year 4. Just kick the tires, just a little meth experimentation, seeing what cooks and what doesn't. Seeing if we should call this Walter White or something else.
Didn't want to show the Bills the real defense in the regular season. I get it.
I mean, because they could have a 3-game lead in the AFC right now, but thank God they don't have that. They haven't put like 3 formations on the field.
Rich fan knows. Rich knows. Hey, why would I show you a spy? I don't have to. Why would I show you Joshua Williams? I don't have to. Why will we play Charles Omenihu when I don't have to? So look, I'm just saying, bleep and giggles in the form of Nas. Hey man, let's see what he can do. Now we know we've experimented,
and of course that experimentation window occurred like a dozen snaps into Aiden O'Connell's day.
Now we know. Let's
explain that one to me, Mr. Conspiracy Theory.
Hey, you gotta sit them. You gotta sit them down, build them back up. Hey, this is what you now. Look at me. I'm Tom Hanks. Alan. Now, what I want you to, what I need you to hit the cutoff, man. Next season, okay?
In that defense, I thought you were saying we were all in Castaway.
So Nazi, when we play quarters, I don't want anybody to get behind you for next season.
Here's my issue with that. I have a different theory, and it's less positive.
Okay, I tried, kids. I tried.
I have a theory that Steve Spagnuolo loves him cerebral players, and Najee Johnson's a more cerebral player than Joshua Williams, in theory. That's the same
dog.
It's the same reason. It's the same reason that Dan Sorensen got snaps until you could not play him over Juan Thornhill.
I need a dog. Okay, no more of these gym rats. I need dogs.
And that, man, if you want a dog, you get the guy who immediately came in and made a tough. Well, I mean, he is. I do think Spags is one of the very best defensive coordinators in the league. Has been for years. He belongs in the Hall of Fame. But that dude loves him cerebral players who have difficulty executing certain assignments. He loves them so much. They know so much about his defense. They know so much about where to go and what to do.
that rap been in the playbook, I tell you.
And
playbook rap.
And he struggles with guys at times that maybe occasionally have mental lapses. Josh Williams has some mental lapses, has for years. There's a reason he played 40% of the snaps against the Ravens, and Spags was like, nope. Because he did have a couple of, like, you know, when anytime a receiver catches the ball on a drag route and there's no one around him, the first thing I'm doing is like, were they playing like some variant of cover 3 or something, or cover 2? And Josh
my boy out there being a dog.
And he just got a little excited. I'm following this guy. It's cover 2, and he's like, I'm following this guy down the field. And down the field, you've got Brian Cook back there, like, dude, why are you over here? Like, where are you, man? They threw the ball to the guy. I'm like, that is, lapses. Great comment, Brian K. "Quote unquote lapses." Camera has to zoom out just to find the defender. That's, in my opinion, that's what's going on. But he came in, he made good plays. I think you have to stick with him. And that includes when he makes a few lapses, which he's going to do, similar to how if DJ Humphries isn't ready, you got to throw Kingsley Suamataia back out there and actually let him play. It's my hot take, by the way, for the day. We don't even have to explore that.
I wasn't sure if that was an actual take or if that was, but I was kind of thinking of like, whoa, so Kingsley getting baptized means that he's going to be so good next year. He and Najee Johnson are going to be incredible starters next year. Let's go to shift to the defense or to the offense here. Because I did want to check in on the DJ Humphries conversation and where we're at in discussing this team's left tackle spot. We'll get to Isaiah Pacheco briefly. And then something that I think Seth and I may have independently come to some similar conclusions on, or at least maybe similar hopes, perhaps, regarding where this offense stands right now. I want to start by reading what I thought was the most interesting thing to happen in yesterday's press conference. There were several questions about DJ Humphries, his availability, and all of that. Andy Reid took all those questions. But then there was a follow-up specifically asking for like confirmation that the Chiefs had not decided who the starting left tackle would be next week. And here was Andy Reid's response. I don't think that's probably fair to DJ right now, just him coming off this offseason. I think we just play it by ear as we go, and if he feels okay, then we give him an opportunity. If it's not where it needs to be, then you don't, so we'll just see how it goes. Now, Andy Reid was not asked, I believe by Sam McDowell in this instance, he was not asked, is DJ Humphries starting on Sunday? He was asked, have you made a determination about who is starting at left tackle? And what I'm hearing between the lines of what Andy Reid says there is we would love to start DJ Humphries. Obviously, that's the plan. But this is the guy fresh off an ACL recovery. He's going to get a longer week of practice, et cetera, et cetera. It to me, obviously, and he's right about this. If Andy went up there yesterday and said, yep, DJ's starting, and on Friday he gets up there and says, hey, DJ's not ready to go, everyone is saying, what do you mean he's not ready to go? You said he was ready to go on Monday. I heard Andy Reid say in that chunk of that press answer, I heard him say, we absolutely will be starting DJ Humphries as long as his brain and his knee are 75% ready to go. But it would be unfair to make that determination on Monday. Nate, you were in the Zoom room and you have expressions on your face. Humphrey starting on Sunday. Is that your guess?
Well, yes. Now what will be fascinating about this is, DJ Humphrey hadn't done a single rep in pads, ladies and gentlemen. At least from what we saw in the open portion of practice. Now they're gonna have to do something sort of individual with him to get him up to pads and practice and, getting in game shape as best you can without ever playing a game, like preseason, training camp, all those things. But they're going to try. They're going to try their best. That's the plan. If DJ needs another week, which I think is understandable given the thing, the severity of his injury and the obvious logical medical science that says if you don't have to play football right now, you don't have to play football. Joe Thuney will be starting at left tackle. I just don't see.
They like Caliendo.
Let me ask a clarifier here, Nate. Are you saying if Humphries isn't ready, Joe Thuney's your left tackle, or you would bet on Joe Thuney starting at Humphries?
No. If Humphries is not ready on Sunday night, needing another week, because Andy wants to give guys another week. Now, this is very similar to the Kareem Hunt dilemma. Hey, Kareem, thanks. Getting this playbook. Oh, by the way, we're starting Carson Steele on Sunday night. That will be the last game he starts.
Right. And turns out we're going to need you to play a ton. It's the DeAndre Hopkins thing. Injuries have killed him this year.
It really have.
When Hopkins came in, what was it, like 2 practices? And he played a little more than I think people expected. He only had like 3 or 4 targets, but it was all like, oh, okay. Like, dude, seriously, we need 15 snaps out of you. Like, we need it now.
They tried to get Carson Steele for another against the Los Angeles Raiders. Or Los Angeles Raiders. Hey kids, that was the 80s. The Los Angeles Chargers. They tried to get, hey, you know what, Kareem? You're in uniform. Congratulations. Hey, man, we're just gonna ease you in, Hey, injuries happen, things happen. Hey, let's, if we get up, obviously we could turn to you. We can just churn some of this clock, baby. Did he fumble? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need you to start stretching them hammies.
Right
now.
Yeah, Kareem, hope you're all right.
Hope you're fine, kid, because for the next 3 quarters, it's you and Xavier Worthy. Because, oh, by the way, yeah, you just met Rashid. You ain't gonna see him again. Like, what?
I can't believe I can't believe they've won some of the games they've won this year. I actually hadn't even thought about Thuney, if I'm being honest, when I was saying so here's what I would say. I would play Kingsley right now before I would play Morris, because both look unplayable in pass protection, and at least Kingsley is moving around normally. whereas Morris isn't. And so you can run the ball better with Kingsley.
Correct.
That said, Tooney, if they trust Caliendo to be an average left guard, give or take, Tooney makes the most sense.
There's one way to find out. It's called Sunday Night Football against the Los Angeles Giants.
I feel like these guys should be able to make some form of judgment about these guys based on padded practice. It's what I feel like. Here's if I were the Chiefs, DJ Humphries, my guess, 1,000,000%, it's a football shape thing. Because left tackle, obviously the Chiefs have a complicated playbook. You'll probably see a few mental errors here and there. But here's the reality. They're at home, right? So you just got to know the cadence, which is easier at home.
Yep.
And he's been playing for a while. He's and pass blocking, I mean, all you need to know is the depth of the drop at a certain point. There's more to it than that, but not so much more that a guy that's been playing as long as him can't pick it up. For me,
all right. Grande, vanilla ice latte, no chai, double whip, add syrup after the thing, peppermints on top, ready, break. Hey, DJ.
DJ Block Mac and Brett.
Yeah.
Peppermint meant 5 yards depth. Okay. All right. Here we go. Like instead of
And
saying, hey, rookie, run, hey, you line up over there. You just tell the 9-year vet, hey, by the way, nutmeg means that's an island of itself. I'm trying to go deep, play action, die a slow death. That's nutmeg. Okay, ready, break. What?
Hey, my wife Jazz is live streaming us on the plane, and so I just want to take a minute. I don't know if anyone knows this, but no, I won't take too long on this. But you know what? Shout out to Jazz, who's on a plane right now and who is just the absolute best. So hi, sweetheart, I love you. Oh, and hi, Lucas and Isabel, I love you. That's our kids. So whatever, I'm lame. Nate makes a really good point in terms of
Nate might be gone. I turned my camera off. Nate disappeared.
Yeah. And so here's the deal. It just depends on the player.
I hit the wrong button.
It's interesting in terms of when you talk to certain players about playing their position. One interesting comment that I got from one player once was, the great thing about being an offensive lineman is I don't need to know everyone else's job. I need to know my job. And I need to know my job for this one game. For each play call, I just need to know. It's not like quarterback, and even to an extent, it's not like receiver where, yes, there's checks depending on what you see with the blitzes. That's where it would be hardest for Humphries. But some of this stuff.
I need you next to Creed Humphrey every day, all day. I need you to sleep in his house. I need you to have breakfast with him. I need you to be in his chest 24/7, 365 till Sunday night.
Everyone in the comments, be cool. All right. Goodness gracious, everyone. Anyway, so I think it's believable. I think the bigger thing for Humphries, even more so than, because I think he's been doing this a long time. It's not quite the same thing as receiver, even though it's still incredibly tough, but he's a veteran. It just all depends. I think the bigger thing is, are you in football shape? And so I think this week, I honestly, I said this to Ryan Tracy, finally got a chance to chat with him the other day, which was so great. But if I were the Chiefs, I would, in full pads, say, hey, George, you never run out of energy. I'm going to send you and DJ over there, and you guys are going to do 20 straight pass rush rep snaps, time after time after time, and then run to a new spot and do it again. We're going to do your own special long drive drill, DJ, and let's see how you do. If you're vomiting when it's done or you can't finish, probably got to wait another week.
And another rep.
The only adjustment I would make is you may as well let Joshua Uche do that since he's not going to be allowed to play on Sunday. I want you to at least get this take off the ground here, Seth. We've also got some optimism on Hollywood Brown and in his upcoming return. This might be something we dive into more later. We'll certainly talk about Isaiah Pacheco more on Thursday. But I also talked about this on the radio last night, where I am actually willing to build a little bit of an argument that the Chiefs offense is about to get significantly better over the next several weeks with a competent starting left tackle and the return of, I think the number 2 wide receiver before the season and again now.
Yeah.
Also, Xavier Worthy is the highest snapping wide receiver on this team as of Friday. He was apparently tied with Watson coming into this game because he had 10 snaps more than Justin Watson, and now he had 10 snaps more in the game, and he now has 10 snaps more total. So Xavier Worthy's getting a lot of work. DeAndre Hopkins looks good. Hollywood Brown comes back in the offense. A left tackle stabilizes things. Seth, what's your vision for what that could mean for this offense?
There were multiple plays against the Raiders, and everyone knows this, where Morris's injury-related struggles directly derailed things. And one of them was a downfield bomb. Xavier Worthy should have had the game-winning catch. Mahomes would have stuck that. He still dang near almost did with a guy hurting him as he's throwing. They also had Justin Watson early in the game running a cover 3 beater, essentially like a post corner type route where Watson dropped it. Should have caught it. I wonder if being a half step faster, how Mahomes throws such accurate, incredible passes to Justin Watson, and then he sees it's Worthy, and it's like, I'm going to put it 5 yards beyond him. Just beyond me. Worthy is getting open downfield. He's a better player now with more nuance in his routes than he was in week 1. You can see it on film. Hopkins has been even a little bit better in the offense than I was hoping. And yes, Damian Clips, Kelsey missed the block just completely on that last play. So that's not on Worthy, not even really on Mahomes.
Hey, how many steps he playing?
All of them.
I'm not
I
doing
think he
this
played
again.
all but 7, while Anthony Ferkser played 7. Go ahead.
And so the thing that I'm seeing on offense, you've got some obvious things occurring where you're just a tick off. And I know people got tired of hearing that. But last year, even though they kept saying it was a tick off, it wasn't. That Christmas Day fiasco, that wasn't just a tick off. That was dudes not being able to separate. Xavier Worthy can separate. DeAndre Hopkins can separate. And Hollywood Brown, if he's back, they can separate. And those 3 guys' skill sets complement each other really nicely. Which, because Rice and Hopkins have a similar skill set at this point in Hopkins' career. And so you're kind of like, ooh, I can see how you could fit all that together. I see a world where the Chiefs offense really is ready to take a significant step forward. You need average left tackle play, which will in turn help Mahomes trust things a little bit more. Worthy continue to get better. Brown getting back. Things could coalesce very well. But if you turn on the Raiders film, it doesn't look like last Christmas's Raiders film. It doesn't look like 40% of last year's games. Things were so close. And they still moved the ball well. The red zone stuff, all that kind of stuff. So I'm still cautiously optimistic on the offense, perhaps even more so than I am about the defense really finding its like top 8 defense stride again.
I'm with you on that. And we'll talk some more offense on Thursday ahead of what feels like a pretty big game now. Not quite like putting the division in danger, but it would sure stink to lose this one against the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. So we will break that all down and preview it on Thursday. Until then, Nate, the word is yours. Get us out of here.
I just want to give a personal shout out. This has been on my mind for a bit because, every now and then I watch the television with the family and I go, hey, the guy looks really familiar. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to do something for me. This is a call to action, particularly those in the Kansas City metro area. Now, when I was in high school, kids, I did a lot of things. All right. I was a pretty good cross country runner. I was an even better track athlete. I played soccer. I was in the pep band, the jazz band. Did a couple plays here and there. Obviously worked for the student newspaper. And when I say worked, I mean Ms. Black worked us. The yearbook club and the gifted program, it doesn't matter. All of this is to say, at one point, because of all these things, a very savvy, maybe ahead of his time gentleman named Samuel Salary said, Nate, you really the Black Peter Parker. And I respected that because I think I had a camera in my hand when he said that. So it is a great pleasure to see people from the high school era have success. And Sam Salary is an actor, a very good one at that. And he's in a very particular commercial that I've seen about 8 billion times because it's the holiday season. And it's crazy. Like he's the lovable son, father in a Golden Corral commercial. And I just want to give a shout out to Sam Salary. That beard looking magnificent, man. Good Lord. So yeah, I just want to give a personal shout out to him. I followed him on Instagram today. He followed me back. Shout out to you, Sam. And yeah, man, I got a little Miles Morales, bouncing off the walls at 9 years old, but I'm still trying to hang, man. I'm still trying to hang as Peter Parker out here in these streets. Cause I mean, if Chris Jones is on the field this long, I guess I gotta be taking I gotta take photos of myself every now and then for JJ. Cause my God, how many snaps was it? 623 snaps over 12 games. Guys, he played 60 snaps on Friday. 60. Okay. That's Spider-Man beating the Goblin, Robin, Sandman, and somehow getting home to MJ while also taking pictures of it all and getting it to the Daily Bugle. This is what this man's doing. It's incredible. Shout out to Sam Salary.
I've always kind of thought of Seth as the white Luke Cage.
I have some thoughts on that.